What's up, Praise Youth? Hey. Oh, there's so many of y'all. Everyone just turn to your neighbor and say, I'm so glad you're here. So glad you guys are here. Y'all are the best. It's Praise Youth. It's Wednesday night. This is the place to be. Incredible. Thank you, ma'am. Hey, guys, give it up for Josh and Kyler, our hosts. Our hosts. So good. We are so glad you're here. If I haven't met you, my name's Aaron. So on the count of three, everybody say your name to me really quick. 1, 2, 3. Okay, sweet. So I'm Aaron. Now I know all of you. We're super glad you're here because we know you could actually be anywhere else on a Wednesday night, but you're here, right? And so we're glad that you're here. And we know that before service, we have a lot of fun. We play Gaga Ball. We play 9 Square. I don't play Gaga Ball with y'all that much because I don't want to beat y'all too much at that. So anyways, I might challenge some of y'all afterwards. Looking at you, Zach. Looking right at you. I might challenge some of y'all afterwards. But hey, before and after service, we have so much fun. But how many of y'all know, like, this part of service right now for the singing and the sermon and small groups, it's time to pay attention, right? So everyone make sure your neighbor's paying attention. Make sure you are paying attention. Make sure you have your notes out. Everyone show me your notes. Where are your journals at? Let's go. Let's go. Journal people are my kind of people. Y'all are awesome. So how many of y'all know tonight is the last night we're talking about this, to find the relationship. It's been so good. Who's had a great time in this series? Who's loved it? Wow. So many hands. And I think it's so cool that we talk about relationships as JHigh because, like, we are super social people, right? Like, I love talking to other people. I know y'all love talking to other people. Just not during service, right? Just not right now while we're listening and taking notes. But there's something about relationships in our life that are super important. Like the first few weeks we talked about, you show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And so if you didn't write that down before, that could be your first note for tonight. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. But it's cool because as humans, we are like super wanting community. We want relationships. Even if you don't think that you like a lot of relationships, you like to be in a community where people understand you, they accept you, and they value you. And that's actually what we have here at Praise Youth. We have a group of 6th to 8th graders that come together every Wednesday, except next week, Thanksgiving break. We come together every week, and we love each other, we accept each other, we value each other, because we're all created in the image of God, like we talked about on the pyramid. Who drew a pyramid in their notes a few weeks ago? Y'all are my favorite people. Awesome. And so we get together every week, and we learn about Jesus, about who he is and what he's done for us. But speaking of relationships, how many of you know, like, we are, like, defined by the relationships that we have? Like, you're in middle school, probably even more so in high school. A lot of people, like, you're defined by your relationships. So how many of you know, you can probably, don't say names right now, but you probably know people right now of, like, if I hang out with that person, that means I'm in the cool crowd. If I hang out with that person, that means I'm, like, into football or sports and all that kind of stuff, or track or soccer. And so our relationships define us. And the world wants to define us by the relationships that we have because we are super social creatures. We love hanging out with each other. And so who you hang out with determines what you do, where you go, and where you're going, right? Who you hang out with determines what you do, where you go, and where you're going. And so in the similar thought of you show me your friends, I'll show you your future, you can say the same thing about relationships. Like, if you show me your relationships, who you're hanging out with, I'll show you your future. And so tonight we're going to finish our talk about, we've had a bunch of talks about relationships, and tonight's the last time. After you come back after Thanksgiving, we're going to talk all about Christmas. It's going to be amazing. But tonight, we've been talking about what it looks like to be in a dating relationship. We talked about marriage. We talked about your friends. We talked about all kinds of good stuff. And tonight, we are going to talk about the most important relationship in your life. And if you haven't taken any notes, write this down, please. The most important relationship you have is your relationship with Jesus. The most important relationship you have is your relationship with Jesus. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I want us to define the relationship. I want each and every one of you to hopefully not be distracted by the people around you and take a moment and while I'm talking, start thinking about what is my relationship with Jesus like? Who is Jesus? Who is this guy that everyone talks about? His name is on all of their shirts. His name is in all of their songs they sing. Who is Jesus? Because the most important relationship you have is your relationship with Jesus. And what's interesting about this is that we live in Southeast Texas, right? We live in, it's called the Bible Belt. There's churches everywhere. We're in a church right now. I drive home and I pass 30 churches, which is awesome. There's churches everywhere. But how many of you know we live in an area where everyone believes in Jesus? You know what I'm saying? I'm doing air quotes. Everyone believes in Jesus. And it's interesting. It's can you imagine if, I'm married to my wonderful wife, Lindsay. Give it up for Lindsay one time. Yeah. Woo. This December 30th, we will be married for 8 years. Wow. 8 years. Yes. Anyways, but can y'all imagine if I went up to Lindsay every day and I was like, Lindsay, I just love you so much. You know what, Lindsay? I love you so much. Lindsay, you're the best. I love you so much, Lindsay. I really do love you so much. But every day I just went up to her and I was like, oh, I love you so much. But can you imagine if that's all I did? I only said that I loved her. How many of you know eventually she'd be like, all right, then start doing some laundry. All right, help me cook some meals. All right, cut the grass, What? Yes, okay, I'm guilting myself now. Okay. How many of you know just saying I love my wife is not good enough? There's more to it than that. Because if I only told my wife I loved her, how many of you know she would have a very frank conversation with me, just very black and white conversation, and be like, listen, Aaron, it's really important to me that you don't just say you love me, but that you show you love me, right? And basically when she's saying it's important to her, she's really saying it needs to be important to me too. That's how marriage works. Okay, so I love it that tonight I want to talk about it's easy for us where we live, the people around us. Basically everyone, if you ask them if they go to church, if they believe in Jesus, everyone will say they love Jesus. But tonight I want us to think about, do we show that we love Jesus? Because it's easy to say that you love something. It takes something else to show that you love something. I think it's so cool because there was a time in Jesus' life when someone asked him, what is the most important thing we need to do? It's a really good question. Someone's like, what is the main thing we need to do, Jesus? And he says this in Matthew chapter 22. Jesus replied, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. So someone's like, Jesus, what do we do? What do I need to focus on? He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. So he's saying this is the way you need to be loving God. You don't just say you love God. You need to love God by your whole life, your heart, your soul, your mind, your strength, your thoughts, everything in your life. Because it's so easy to say that you love God, but he's saying, I want you to love me with your whole life and show me that you love me. Because I know a lot of people in this room, you might be a person in this room, and you're like, oh snap, I always say that I love Jesus. But do I ever actually show that I love Jesus? So tonight, that's what we're going to talk about. So the first question is do you know who Jesus is? Not do you say you know who Jesus is, but do you actually know who Jesus is? Because he said that we need to love him with our heart, mind, and soul, and strength, all of our lives. So what he's not saying is, Jesus doesn't say you love me in your Instagram bio. He doesn't say, wear a cross necklace, right? He doesn't say, just wear Praise Youth shirts. It's easy to do those things. It's easy to say that you love Jesus, but it's much harder, and Jesus is calling us and telling us that we need to show that we love him as well. And so tonight, we're going to have a DTR with the most important relationship in your life, your relationship with Jesus. Because as Praise Youth JHigh, I don't want us to just say we love Jesus. I want us to say we love Jesus and show that we love Jesus. Amen? Amen. So if you're taking notes, I'm going to give you 3 areas Only 3 areas. We're just scratching the surface, but 3 areas that we can say and show that we love Jesus. And the first area that we can say and show that we love Jesus is our time. Whew, our time. Time. Time is like a crazy thing because it's probably the most valuable thing we have in our lives, because how many of you know you can't buy time? You can't I can't go to someone and be like, hey, can I have 10 minutes that I can add to my life? You can't buy time. You can't trade time. It's one of the most valuable things that we have as human beings. And when thinking about time, you prioritize what you value, which basically means you make time for what you love, right? You make time for what you love. How many of you know I love soccer? Anytime my friends go play, we play every other Saturday. I always make time for that because I love soccer. And I make time for what I love. How many of you know I love peanut butter? I literally eat peanut butter every morning. I make time in the morning. I have a little shake thing, and I put a ton of peanut butter in there. I love peanut butter. I make time for what I love. But let's get real. How many of you know, or I'm telling you, that I don't love cleaning out my garage, right? So I don't make time for cleaning out my garage. And so right now, my garage is literally crazy. You can barely walk in there. I do not love cleaning out my garage, so I have not made time for cleaning out my garage. But praise youth, I'm here to tell you tonight that God doesn't want just a moment with you. He doesn't want just 10 minutes with you during Praise Youth on a Wednesday. He doesn't want just a few minutes with you once a month when you stop and think about him, right? We have time, and we make time for what we love. And it's easy to say, I love God, I love hanging out with God. But it's harder to say, I'm going to show God I love him by actually spending time with him. Because God wants to spend time with you. God wants to have a relationship with you, and he wants to spend time with you. He wants to lead you and guide you and show you the best way to live. And in John chapter 15 in the Bible, it says this in verse 5. Jesus is talking. He says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. But apart from me, you can do nothing. He says, I'm the vine, you're the branches. If you remain in me, then you'll bear much fruit, but apart from me, you can do nothing. So Jesus is talking about staying connected to him and spending time with him. And so it's this whole thought of it's easy to say, yeah, I spend time with Jesus, but it's well, when is the last time you actually spent time with Jesus? When's the last time you showed Jesus that you value him by spending time with him? When's the last time you woke up in the morning and the first app you open is not TikTok or Snapchat? The first app you open is the Bible app, and you're like, God, I'm awake. I can't wait to hang out with you again. I said I loved you yesterday. I'm going to show you I love you today by spending time with you. Because can you imagine if you had a friend, like your best friend that you hang out with every day? Can you imagine if you didn't hang out with them at all for over a year? They probably wouldn't be your best friend anymore. But we say that we love God, but we don't give any time to hanging out with him. And so are you, JHigh, are you spending time connecting with God regularly? Because we have a God who has time to meet with you. He's never too busy to meet with you. It's not like he's doing something else. You always have time to meet with God, and he wants to meet with you. So the first area that we can not just say we love God, we can show we love God, is with our time. And the second area we can say we love God and show we love God is our talk. Our talk. I think this is something amazing about God, that we have a God that loves us, that died for us, and he actually wants to spend time with us. And while he's spending time with us, he wants to talk to us, and he wants us to talk to him. I don't know about you, but whenever I was growing up, I had a bunch of friends, and we were all too scared to talk to each other about what we were actually going through. And then in high school, we had a moment where we were let's just lay it all out on the table. Let's just talk to each other about what we're going through. And then as soon as it happened, we're why didn't we do this a million years ago? this is amazing. Everything is better if we just talk about it. We could have been helping each other this whole time. And so you have a God that wants to talk to you, and he wants you to talk to him about whatever you're going through. Good things in your life, bad things in your life, what you're excited about, what you're scared about, what you're struggling with, what you need help with. We have a God that wants to listen to you and help you. And I think a lot of us are like scared to talk to God because of like what we're going through. But then it's like God knows your thoughts, and so it's like, why do you think he's scared to hear your words if he knows your thoughts? But it's like we have a God who's like, he can handle your emotions. He can handle what you're going through. So we have a God that wants to talk to us, and he wants us to talk to him. And in the Bible, in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, it says, you can talk to me about anything. You know what? Just cast all your anxiety on him, on Jesus. Why can we cast all of our anxiety on Jesus? Because he cares for you. He loves you. God is there to help you with whatever you're going through. So I want to challenge you, like, when's the last time you actually just talked to God about what you're going through? How do you talk to God right now? I hope you talk to God when you come to Praise Youth, but I also hope you have time in your week that you're also talking to God when you're not at church, because you're only here for like maybe an hour out of your whole week. And so a really good way that we can not just say we love God, but we can show we love God is by saying, God, I want to talk to you about what I'm going through. I want to talk to you about how thankful I am that you've died for me. I want to talk to you about how thankful I am for my friends and my church and everything around me. It's like that friend analogy. Imagine if you didn't talk to your best friend for like a year or 2 years. Like imagine how much stuff would change about them that you would have no idea about. And I bet you all have best friends right now that you can't imagine even going a day without talking to. Right? So you have a God that cares about you, and he wants to be someone that you can talk to, and he will talk to you. So the first area that we can not just say we love God, but show we love God is our time. The second area is our talk, and the third area is our trust. The third area is our trust. And trust is a really interesting thing because as soon as you meet someone, even if you're not even thinking about it, your body and your brain is like, you're naturally asking yourself, can I trust this person? Is this person someone that I will let into my life, and can I trust them? And we as humans, we are naturally putting our trust in something. So whether you're thinking about it or not right now, you are putting your trust in something or someone. You might be putting it in social media, might be putting it in your grades at school, or your parents, or your friends, or your church. We're all putting our trust in something. But there's a guy named Solomon in the Bible. He's like one of the smartest dudes to ever live. He wrote this in Proverbs chapter 3. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. So how can we not just say we love God, but show we love God with our trust? We can start to not lean on our own understanding. We can start to not think, I know everything. Like next time you're going through something, you're like, you know what, God? Actually, I've made a lot of mistakes. Me personally, I've made a lot of mistakes. And I know, like, you know how trust is like built over time? Like, oh, I trust someone more and more as I give them an opportunity, and they came through for me. I trust them a little bit more next time, and they came through for me again. And eventually, over time, you have all this trust built up with someone. Well, I don't know if you know this, but God has been taking care of his people for thousands of years. Billions of people he's taking care of, and he's never let a single person down. But we're nervous for some reason that he's going to start with us. He's going to start by letting us down as the first person he's ever let down. And I'm here to tell you that we have a God that is so faithful. He's so true on his word that he's never going to fail you. He's never going to let you down. He's never let anyone down. I promise you he's not going to start with you. And so I trust God with my life more than I trust myself. Because I don't know about you, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And if I think about all the mistakes I've done, the one thing that all of my mistakes have in common is, guess what? It's me. I made all of the decisions that I regret. I chose them. I was trying to lean on my own understanding. I was trying to make my own path straight. And so it's easy to say like, oh yeah, I trust God. Yeah, we sing that in songs. Oh, I trust you, I trust you. But then whenever something gets hard, we immediately try to fix it ourselves. We try to make our own path straight. But I'm here to tell you, we can show God we love him by saying, you know what, God, I trust you more than I trust myself with my life. I'm not going to lean on my own understanding. I'm going to lean on your understanding because I don't know about you, but like, I know God is smarter than me. So whatever I'm going through, I want to go with whatever he says. And so, JHigh, how are you trusting God right now? Because I'm not going to pretend like none of y'all in this room are going through anything. I know you're going through stuff. I know the holiday season is coming up, and this might be a really hard time of year for a bunch of you. And you're like, how do I get through this? What do I do? What decisions do I need to make? Can I just tell you that you have a God that wants to spend time with you? He wants to hang out with you. And while you're hanging out, he wants to talk to you. He wants you to talk to him. He's okay. He wants to hear how you're feeling. He wants to hear what you're scared of. He wants to hear what you're excited about, what you're scared about. And then as you spend time with him and you're willing to talk to him, you begin to build trust with him. When you realize, you know what, he's never failed anyone. I know he's not going to fail me. So 3 areas we can not just say we love God, but show we love God is our time, our talk, and our trust. Because you can say you love Jesus all you want, but it's a different thing to show you love Jesus. It's like that saying that we all know, like actions speak louder than words, right? Like if I just told Lindsay I love her every day, but I never did anything to help her or serve her, she'd be like, you're just saying that. It's easy. Anyone can say they love anything. But if I show my wife that I wake up and I serve her, then she knows that I love her, because anyone can say they love something. But it means more when you show that you love something. And I don't want us to be a middle school ministry, a junior high ministry. I don't want us to be a ministry that just says we love God. I want us to be a JHigh ministry that says we love God. And guess what? If you hang out with us, we're not just going to say we love God. We're going to show how we love God. By the way that we live, by the way that we think, by the way that we treat others. Because like right now, all of these small group leaders around you, me on this stage, everyone running sound, everyone at this church, we're all trying to show how much we love God because we are so thankful for what he's done for us. And when you really understand who God is, when you really, really understand what he's done for you, you can't not show it. You can't help but show how you love him. You can't help but serve. You can't help but give advice to other people and try to lead other people and help other people and love other people the way Jesus did. And when you really understand who Jesus is, it will change everything about you. And I found this crazy quote. It was in a DC Talk song growing up. Any of the people in the room that are older that know DC Talk? Okay. There's a quote at the beginning of a DC Talk song, like, since I was 10 years old, I've been listening to this. It's been wrecking my life. And it goes with exactly this thought of not just saying you love Jesus, but showing you love Jesus. This guy, by a guy named Brennan Manning. And he says this: the greatest single cause of atheism in the world today is Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips. They say they love Jesus, but they walk out the door and deny him by their lifestyle. So they say they love God, but they don't show they love God. And that is what an unbelieving world simply finds unbelievable. And listen, JHigh, everyone up here still, it's all right. They're taking care of it. Like, I don't want us to be a ministry that just says we love God. I want us to show we love God. I want you to experience God and then it change the way you live. I want you to go in schools and people be like, man, those people that go to Praise Youth are different. They don't just say they love God, they actually show it. I can tell in the way they live every single day that they actually love God. Because God, Jesus has showed us the best way to live. He's called us to a way to live. And so I don't want us to just say we love him. I want us to show that we love him. And so everyone in this moment, let's stand to our feet. So JHigh, as we're talking about this, we don't want to just say we love Jesus. We want to show we love Jesus. This whole idea of actions speaking louder than words, right? Like, I love that Jesus didn't come to earth and he didn't just say he loved us. Jesus actually showed that he loved us. He could have just come down to earth and be like, man, I love you guys so much. Y'all are the best. I created you. I love you. Like, that would have been cool. But Jesus didn't just say he loved us, but he showed he loved us by dying on the cross. And so in just a minute, the band's about to come on stage and we're about to sing a few songs. And look, in these next few minutes, I want us to, everyone stay in our seats. And I want us to have a moment where we're going to be saying that we love God because of the words on the screen, because of the words in the songs, right? But I don't want us to just say that we love God. I want us to show that we love God. Maybe tonight you've never raised your hands in worship before. Maybe the way you can show you love God is by just being like, this is awesome. Jesus is awesome. I'm okay to raise my hands because of who he is and what he's done. So tonight, I pray that we can not just say we love God, but we can show him too. So let's pray together and then we're going to worship. Jesus, we're so glad that you didn't just say you loved us. God, you showed your love for us on the cross. And God, I pray for every single person in this room right now that you'll challenge us and you'll encourage us to live a life that is devoted to you, not distracted by the world. And God, I pray in these next few moments as we sing these songs about you, as we say we love you, that we will start to show how much we love you in our lives.